time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stand.
And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. Host Mike Adams, Dan DePaul, sitting in the cabin. It's been a great week. I'm tired, I'm wore out, and I'm slap happy.
Yeah, it was pretty busy. It was pretty busy. It was pretty busy this Saturday, and you know what? Got up this morning, took the dogs out for a little stroll, and boy, was it thick.
Was it? Fog?
70 degrees and 70 dew. The numbers
Dew
matched.
point.
Dew point match.
Okay, right on.
So it was thick.
Gotcha.
So, but you know what? It was busy, but we made it back to the cabin.
Well, we talked a little bit about what we wanted to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
We've both been busy working. We've both been busy with a couple of shows and things of that nature. And we decided that since one of our good friends and actually one of our supporters here at Up North Journal was online, and we got a hold of him. You want to jump right into it?
Get him on.
All right. Tim Sias, what are you doing in Harts, West Virginia, my friend? How's it going tonight?
It is going awesome tonight. Waiting for Up North Journal. Talk a little bit of hunting.
Oh, we're going to talk a little bit of hunting. We're going to talk a little bit about fall hunting, matter of fact. That's going to be the cool part because you know what? It might be, I don't know, it was probably 90 out there or whatever it was today. And,
yeah.
But it's going to cool down.
It is going to cool down.
I know Friday morning we had a couple cool mornings.
Early goose season kicks in, but then we got small game. We got archery season, but also fall turkey season. So what better person to have on than the guy from Limb Walker Game Calls himself? What are you thinking about fall turkey season there?
Looking forward. It is exciting. October the 13th, Lincoln County, here where I live and reside, will be having our fall season. It'll go from Saturday to Sunday, and we're actually looking forward to it because we've got plenty of turkeys that we can hunt down in here where I'm at.
Well, down in West Virginia, I don't know how the seasons run down there compared to like what we're used to up here. Actually, where I hunt, we cannot hunt turkeys in the fall. We just don't have that big a population. But here where we live, where Danny and I live, we're allowed to. And we're also allowed to shoot a hen in the fall. Is that can you do that there where you're at or no?
Yeah, it's either sex.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Either sex.
Yeah.
It is determined, here where we're at and through the state, it is determined on how the harvest is in the spring. If we have a good harvest in the spring and with the numbers, they also do West Virginia DNR does a turkey survey through the spring. And a lot of hunters turn in their survey results, and that will help with determining whether or not we're going to have a fall season.
Okay, so has there ever not been a fall season due to the survey in recent memory?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're actually, they'd go a couple of years, and we'd have the seasons, and then they'd slack them off. And we may have went 2 or 3 years. And then there's counties down here that surrounding that may not have had a season when one county did. So, yeah, it's now this year the whole state's got one. It's not sparingly like it has been.
Okay.
All right, cool. Good job. And, you know, you're the call master there. What's the tactics upcoming for the fall season for you?
It depends. If you're a steel hunter that likes to get out and spot and stalk, some people like to bust up a flock and sit down and try to call them back to them, and that's using an assembly call, a lost call of the hens. I know some will try to locate them enough to where the morning they know where they're roosting. They get in there in the morning, and so with the way everything is, they'll try to call it when they call them off the roost, when they call them off the limb, try to get them to you. Or a tactic here that I'm sure y'all are familiar with, they like using turkey dogs.
Oh, okay.
Like grousing. So they've trained turkey dogs to go out and bust the flock up. They get in a certain area where they busted them up, and they sit down and call just like the mama hen will assemble them back together. And that dog is sitting right beside them, and they don't move.
I have never heard of that before. Seriously. I mean, I've never heard of using dogs to hunt turkey with. That's interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a big sport. Pennsylvania, New York. I have several friends up in that area through Facebook that they use the dogs, and they're very successful with it. And there's been one time in West Virginia. I was in Greenbrier County, and I come across a man, a woman, and his son that had 2 bird dogs, and I was talking to them. We was out hunting, and I thought maybe they might have been grouse hunting, but they were turkey hunting. So that was the first time I'd ever come across one. Yeah, so those dogs are really, if you can see those dogs, they don't move. They don't. It's like they won't. Their tails will not wag. Oops, sorry. The tails won't wag. They don't do that, like not even breathing. When that turkey's coming up to them, they're trained that well.
Man,
wow.
that's amazing.
That is incredible. So now you're talking about bird dogs. What type of breed of dogs? I mean, specifically, is there a certain breed of dog that they use, or is there a wide range of dogs?
Springers, Spaniels, Labs. I know there's one person got a Lab that I know that it's just the way they're trained that, not moving. Once they sit down and they start calling, those dogs know not to move. And Springers and Spaniels are probably the best.
Have you ever heard of that, Danny?
I've heard of it.
For turkeys.
Yeah, for turkeys, I've heard of it where they take the dog in, they'll bust it up, and they'll sit. And
that's incredible.
I think it's amazing.
I'd love to see
to be able to get a dog to do that.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised it really up in your all's area. You guys up in your area and in Wisconsin and stuff, you guys was good with the grouse population.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that they don't have that with the turkey dogs.
I've never heard of it, but quite honestly, I don't even know if there's a law that says you can't do it. There might be. I don't know. I'll have to look. I mean,
and that's you're talking about that, Tim. The fall hunting here is it's interesting because I really don't know how heavily fall turkey hunting is because for me, we're often running into October and that's bow season.
Yeah,
and it's like So the fall turkey season is kind of like, okay, if I get there.
Yeah, I think for me, if I was, if I'm up in my area hunting, and I mean, I see birds, they're there, and I see mostly hens that I remember because I really just don't pay a whole lot of attention to them. I've seen a young a jake mess with a young deer.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, back when we could actually use bait back in the day, a long time ago. I was sitting in a tree stand and I was watching. We had a little corn sprinkled out, and the turkey come in and he was chasing the young deer off, and that was hilarious to see them two circling each other, going back and forth. But yeah, I'm more concentrated on deer hunting at that point. But if we were able to hunt them and I had a tag, I would probably use my bow.
Right.
That's the way it is down here. The guy, the majority of the hunters around here, they're bow hunters, and it's far and few on fall turkey hunters, simply because they'd rather be out for the big bucks. They're looking for the wall hangers, and I don't blame them. If I'm out there the week that the season is open here, if I don't have a shotgun, if I got my bow and if a turkey comes and I won't sling an arrow to them.
Right on. Yeah.
You've been waiting.
That's gonna be like a prize. Kill them all with your bow.
Right. Exactly. And then you've been waiting all year for bow season.
Right. I got deer and I got a turkey. Which one am I going to go after?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to go after deer and put meat in the freezer.
Right, exactly. So, it's that time of year. And it's funny because kind of like what's happening in the sports world, same thing with the hunting world. Bow hunting, grouse hunting, all those small game hunting. Everything's kicked off.
Right, yeah. It's, when you get to 1st of September, man, it's just like everything goes crazy, It's, if you're an outdoor sportsman and a sports watcher, you're pulled between the two. Well, let me ask you this. I know you like to get out in the woods in the fall. Do you take your cell phone with you, and do you keep up with football games as you're out in the woods, Tim?
No, I don't have signal down here to do it.
You're lucky. I've let more deer walk past me because I was trying to catch a score in a game or something instead of paying attention to what I'm supposed to be doing. That's dangerous.
Down here where I'm at, they're not even on top of the mountain. I can't even get a signal. So no, I have my gun. I mean, my gun. Shoot, I have my phone with me for pictures, obviously, but
you don't have a signal.
No.
Well, that goes back to how the signals work on cell phones.
Right, yeah.
It's line of sight.
Right. Well, you think being on top of a mountain down there where he's at in the mountains,
you would think
he could pull a signal in, so.
Right, exactly.
So.
But, yeah, it's.
Well, talking about deer hunting, Tim, you do a live show Friday nights, 7 o'clock, right? 7 or is it 8? 8 o'clock.
Right. 8 o'clock.
Okay, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
On the limb, and I pop over there every now and then if I got a few minutes at work, and we're just going to go ahead and throw this out here.
Before you do,
an
update from Jim the Turkey Man Miller.
Okay.
You can use the dogs in the fall.
Okay, and that's from our NWTF president here locally. So, yeah, you can use turkey dogs, I guess. You can use dogs for turkey in the fall. Thanks, Jim. Said. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Jim.
Good info. But we were I chimed in, was talking with Tim, and he had mentioned on his show about 2-3 weeks ago about canning deer meat. And I've heard of it, never done it. So, Tim is gracious enough this year when he gets a deer, we're gonna do a combo show. He's gonna come on just like we're doing right now, but he's gonna be showing us how to can deer meat.
I've never had it, never tasted it. I'd be inclined to do so, just like you did with Hart.
Oh yeah, deer heart. Trying it for the first time. Yeah, I've had canned deer meat before. My grandmother Adams used to can a lot, and I remember having canned deer meat back in the day. But. As they say down south, your tongue will jump out and slap you upside the head. It's so good.
Right?
So, you want to talk a little bit about that, Tim, while I got you on? I mean, just you guys do a lot of that down there, right?
Yeah. We're actually, I have recruited a few people. We are on a mission to make sure we get a deer.
Uh-oh, the word has gone out from Tim. Get a deer.
Yeah. I have myself, and Arnold Killen and little Lucas Browning. We are on a mission to make sure we get a deer, preferably a doe, and we're going to make sure that we get the meat and have it all set up. And I'm actually wanting to have it ready. I'm going to do one batch, kind of like a cooking show does.
Okay.
To where I do the preparations and show you how to do it, and then how they go, and the end results are. And I'll have some done. So, okay. But it's not hard. It's just you just make sure that you have it's just pure meat. No fat or anything. And I use little pint jars. And when you put it down the end, and you put a flavoring like either an onion or a beef bouillon cube. Some others will put a garlic clove in, doing different things, and then set in the canner and do it for 90 minutes. Let it pressure cook. It's done.
I tell you,
I'm looking forward to it.
If you're going to do some and have some already finished, take you a little half pint jar and ship it up here to Danny so he can try it live on the show.
I was planning on it.
And as we talk about this, it has started. The people on Facebook are Tom Gensel, Jim is the big dog, which he is. Don Gibson is calling this the Great Canned Deer Meat Debate.
Okay.
And he does say canned deer meat is the best.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, I tell you. So, yeah, we'll get Danny's reaction if we can make this happen. But I'm looking forward to that. We'll do a limb walker on the limb show / Up North Journal show.
Right, I'm good with that.
I just think there might be a deer down there with UNJ, tattooed on the side of it. So they get one for us.
Yeah, there already is. I say I got Arnold. Arnold's going up in his where he lives, and he's scouting out and picking out which one we can get, and that way it'd be a good tender doe and make it good to cut up and have ready to put in those little jars. So even my mom, she wants to come down. My mom wants to be a part of it. She likes to can. She's 72 years old.
That is awesome. We're just going to get everybody involved. I mean, this is going to be a frenzy, an internet frenzy. We'll blow the internet up, We
can do that,
this, man. So, hey, I tell you what, though, we're bumping up here on our first break. So let's step outside real quick. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation here. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back, second segment of the show. For those of you on the live that weren't on the live stream, you're listening to the podcast. You missed a whole debate about baseball,
right?
And you missed Tim just about breaking his neck here, putting his Atlanta Braves hat on. So.
Was he quick or what?
That was like lightning.
You would have thought it was like a big buck coming out, or a huge Tom Turkey walking and strutting into the field. Man, it was like quick.
That was funny. So, hey, Tim, you talked a little bit before we went to break. We were talking about calls and using different calls in the fall. You talking about that assembly call. Kind of run through some of the sequences that you use out in the field, so guys that maybe want to try to get out this fall might know what to use.
Well, I like in the fall you can get an assembly call, and that's what the mama hen is doing if you bust them up and they've got all them little Jakes and Jennies that's run everywhere. And they're going from one place to the other. Then the boss hen, she'll get like in a certain centralized location.
Okay.
And she'll stand there. And when she's trying to gather them all in, she'll just start. She just used that cadence for even longer.
Okay.
And that gives it out enough to where that's going to get those small ones, those Jakes and Jennies, back to her.
I got you. Okay.
And then also too, a little bit of doing a kiki that they use, and not the dance, but the kiki what the Jakes and Jenny does.
Mm-hmm.
That's good in the fall too. So it's and the Jakes and Jennies, which this is on aluminum disc. The young ones are kikiing. That's ones that can't come right out with a full yelp or full calc or anything.
Right.
And they're doing the kiki, and that will help them, and that will help you locate the bigger adults too, the mama hen.
Okay, gotcha.
So I carry that out too. But mostly for hens. Now, let me stress this: you can have Jakes and gobblers are still going to off the roost. They're going to gobble a time or two.
Okay.
They're still going to do that in the fall, and they'll call a little bit, but they're not as vocal as what
the spring is.
A hen.
Okay.
Yeah. Mama hen's looking after her babies, and she's got that certain yelp, and then them babies are going to go to her, and so they're not. It's a little harder to call in. If you're sitting at a place and you got a flock of gobblers coming around, and you're able to kill a fall gobbler, that's a trophy. I don't know too many people that's really going to sit there and call them in to you. But now the Jakes, Jennies, and the hens, if you get them busted up, you're going to call them right back.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Now,
that's kind of cool.
Now, the assembly call, the kiki you're using your aluminum. What were you using for the assembly?
It's my red slate.
Red slate.
No. I'm sorry. It is my little plastic pot that I got. It's a crystal surface.
Okay.
And it's actually over slate.
Okay.
But that's my crystal surface.
Okay. All right.
Well, you better tell us, Tim, where we can find these calls. Everybody wants to know. They're listening to them.
Well, I do not have a website, but you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube at Lim Walker Game Calls.
Make sure you guys get over there and gals get over there and check out the full assortment of calls.
Absolutely, or get a hold of us and we'll get you in touch with Tim.
Yeah, you actually can get a hold of us. We'll get you. Make sure you get right over to the page and be able to see what he's got available over there to use for fall and for spring as well. So
right, exactly.
I was looking at something here, and Brent Farrell said he put a message up, Tim. He says, "Don't worry, Tim." He says, "I'll get the deer for you." So he said, "You're not going to have to worry at all."
And Tom Gensel said that kiki just woke up his lab.
Nice.
Who he thought was out for the night.
Well, the lab must think he's getting ready to go turkey hunting.
Right?
Sorry, Tom.
That's good stuff.
Saw Tom yesterday at Bow Fest, and he picked up some Hunter's Blend coffee.
He did pick up some Hunter's Blend. He said it cost him a bow and some arrows as well.
Arrows are free.
That's right, because he bought a new bow. So
yeah,
it was a good day over there.
So is there in West Virginia when you're hunting in the fall? Is there time limits? Can you hunt all day?
Daylight to dark.
Okay, you can do all-day hunts. I know some places you can only hunt to a certain time.
Yeah, no afternoon hunting.
Right, no afternoon. Hunting.
Right on.
Yeah.
Only in the spring. Only in the spring is they have the afternoon to 1 o'clock.
Oh, it is that way there for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's one thing we don't have to deal with here in Michigan. Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah.
They'll start switching that on us, too.
They'll take that information.
Right.
They'll listen to that.
Something else that we've been talking about, at least you and I have, Tim, here recently, talking about bears. Have you seen any increased bear activity down there by you, seeing how we're getting ready to get into fall and they're starting to pack the pounds on, getting ready for winter?
Yeah, actually, our first archery or bear season opens up this Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, that's
it'd be over for a week.
Okay.
It'll be rifle, archery, and even with dogs.
Okay.
So they do run dogs down there as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Now there's a certain time you can't run dogs, and then there's they have two different seasons. I need to read up, but it was 2 different split seasons. I know all of December you can run dogs, and this week coming up, starting next Saturday, you can run dogs. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting.
There you go.
The more you and I talk about different things and different styles of hunting and the way things are, it seems like where you're at there in West Virginia is a lot like, it reminds me of either the Upper Peninsula or the Northern Lower Peninsula here where I hunt. It just seems you're at a different elevation there, and you get a lot of more hollers and ravines and things of that nature and deeper woods compared to like down here in the lower part where we're at, where there's a lot of ag fields.
Fields, and you've got swales, and you've got
more flat land.
Yeah, it's more flat, and
so it's interesting when we talk to people that are in different states and different styles of hunting and all that. It's pretty cool.
Now, even as you go up north, we're away from the agricultural, the hay fields and things. But down here is the bigger mountain part. So, we're in coal country.
Okay.
We're down in southern West Virginia is the coal country. So that's the mountains. They're using it for the coal mines and stuff. So
right.
Not too much flat land.
Right. I gotcha. Giving people a little bit of insight into you, where did you cut your hunting teeth at? How did you get started in hunting? Was it as a youngster? Did you pick it up later in life? Was it somebody in the family, or how did that work for you?
My dad would carry me on his shoulders at the age of 2 and 3 years old, out chasing Norwegian elk hound, squirrel hunting through the mountains.
Okay.
When I told Dad I was tired, he would pick me up and carry me. He carried me back to the truck several times.
That's nice.
And from then he's took me out of school. I know people might frown at that, but during the fall of the year, he's took me out of school to let me go hunting with him for a week. And then at the age of 17, he bought my first call, a lunchbox call, and said, "Here you go, son, you're on your own." So
there you go. Now, there's no problem with taking somebody out of school for teaching them something.
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say. My dad did that with me. Come deer season, we would take an extended time off plus the weekend. I don't know if I probably didn't take a full week off, but I remember missing school. And it used to be like a state holiday here in Michigan, November 15th, the opening day of rifle season. And it's not that way anymore. It's kind of sad.
Not so much down here.
Yeah, you just don't see it. I've taken all my kids up north deer hunting, and I was like, hey, go tell your teacher, get your homework, because, you're going to be missing school. You're going to miss a couple days of school. And they're like, well, Dad, if I tell them that, they're probably, not going to like it. And I said, I don't care what they like,
exactly.
But that's a problem with, I'm not going to say all teachers, because our school has some teachers that are hunters, and they're few and far between. But the teachers, they kind of give them a little bit of a rough time. Not all of them, but some of them did.
That's the way we live.
When I was in school, we didn't get a whole week off at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And now they do. Now they get the whole week off.
Okay, yeah. See, when we were in school, we'd go to that Wednesday, and when I got old enough, normally it was after school, we would leave to head up north.
Right.
But
on that Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, things have changed. They've definitely changed a lot, since from back in the day. But, it's interesting. You talked about, you said Norwegian hounds for run squirrel. We're just talking, I was talking with somebody. Oh, it was actually Thursday. I was doing an on the trail segment, and we were talking about getting some video and doing a squirrel hunt, and maybe running behind some treeing feists.
Okay.
Smaller feist dogs for that. So I've done that one time up here, run behind dogs, and it's a different hunt. It's very unique and a different style of hunting, than just sitting next to a tree waiting for the squirrel to come out.
Yeah, those feists can be a little feisty.
That's why they're called feist.
Yeah.
Kind of like Danny.
Well, no, because that's what Axel is a mountain feist.
Okay.
So,
your dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not my dog. Let's get this straight. It's not my dog.
It's Dan's dog.
It's Erica's dog, okay?
Dan takes care of it.
No, Erica takes care of it. It was the last year we went to Woods and Water when you walk into a puppy tent.
Okay. So, and how many dogs are you going to bring home this year?
Shut up.
Oh, me.
But that little feist, though, when he is booking through the woods, it is kind of cool to see him. I mean,
working?
Working, and then he's jumping off the tops of the logs, and now I have seen him miss.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Take a good rumble. But, it is. There's something about being behind a dog, a good dog that's working, whether it's, a feist or whether it's a bird dog or what have you. This week, like I said, we were out shooting on the trail, and we were doing a segment on training dogs out at the Huntsman Club out in Dryden, and they actually got to see some dogs work over top of birds. And there's just something about watching a good dog work. I don't know about down there. They do a lot of bird hunting where you said there's a grouse down that way, right?
They're not as much as they used to be, but yeah, we used to grouse that quite a bit.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Whether it be a German short hair or a spaniel or what have you.
Yeah, I had a Brittany. I had a French Brittany, a little black one.
Okay. And there's just something about a good dog working. It's just incredible to watch them. But what you were saying earlier about turkey dogs, that just blows my mind. You can get a dog to set that still.
I know, isn't it wild?
Because turkeys, they pick up any little tiny movement.
Right, exactly. And you get this dog that won't even, like Tim said, they won't even wag their tail.
Right. It's incredible.
It is.
It just comes back from the trainer of training the dogs and working with them and everything, every day. It's got to be every day, taking them out, doing and running and stuff. And so, a guy told me the attention span of a dog is about like the attention span of a 4-year-old. And it's about 20 minutes.
And that's the end of it.
And when you do what you want to do for that dog, what you want to work on that day for 20 minutes, then you put him up. And you don't touch him no more because you're not going to get that dog to do anything. The next day, when he wakes up, when you're ready to go and do something, get him out and work him for 20 minutes and put him back up.
Okay. That's about right, because when I was working with my dogs, walking them and everything, it was about 20 minutes. 20-minute walk, half-hour walk is what it normally was.
So, they'd had enough, you could tell.
Yeah, you could tell. They were like, okay, had enough of you.
All right, it's time to go back and give me something to eat.
Right?
So
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're bumping up on our next break here. Let's take a quick break. Come back. We'll continue the conversation here with Tim Sias from Harts, West Virginia. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back, third segment of the show. We are online with Tim Sias from On the Limb from Limb Walker Game Calls on the Limb Show on Friday nights, 8 o'clock.
Right, exactly. Talking fall hunting, as we're gearing up for fall hunting.
And it's 90 degrees out here in Michigan.
It is. People got their cameras out. I'm excited to get up north next week, pull some cameras. I got to pull my cameras, probably replace the batteries. Kind of take inventory, see what's going on. I'll be up there for the weekend and doing some work on the cabin and nothing like a little plumbing. So that was good.
Getting everything ready. In the break here, we were talking with Tim, and he doesn't do any scouting. He's got his own personal scout.
Tim is so good. He has people that scout for him. He's like the sharpshooter they call in. They say, we need you. Come on in. And he just walks in.
Gets the job done.
He probably doesn't even gut the deer. He just shoots it and walks away.
That's the way to do it.
Right? Absolutely.
No. Now I have to do the deed after it's all said and done. I just get a little help. Where Arnold he'll tell me where to go.
Oh, okay.
He'll tell me what part of the hunting area that I need to be at, and I pretty much know where he's talking about, and he'll tell me what time I need to be there, at a certain, if it's in the afternoon, early in the morning, or what have you. And he's got it down with his cameras, but as far as everything else, I've got to do it.
Man, he's got an appointment set for him. He's got his own personal hunting secretary.
That's good. Well, speaking of cameras, actually, we just got a question from Dan's brother, Terry.
Right.
He wants to know if you use cameras for scouting fall turkey. Do you use any trail cameras?
No.
No,
and the reason being is that I do not have an area that's private for me to put my cameras out.
Okay.
So I'm kind of afraid of putting them out for they'll be vandalized or stolen.
I totally agree with you that, and even on private property, things can
grow legs
and walk off.
Yeah.
I had that happen with a tree stand, so totally agree. It happens.
I have permission to hunt private areas, private land, but it's still open to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So there's vehicle travel through it, and it's kind of like it's private land, but it's still public land. Everybody is allowed to hunt in there.
Right.
Yep. Exactly. And you know what? And matter of fact, I was looking at the catalog today. I was looking at some of the price of the cameras, right? And especially now these new ones are the cell phone ones, and
the wireless cameras.
You're paying $400, $500 for a camera. You go stick that out there, and if somebody walks off with it, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, and even like the ones that we use, you're talking, just under $200, between $150 and $200 for a good camera. I mean, that's a lot of money just to stick out there on a tree and watch walk away.
That's why I'm kind of nervous. I got 4 cameras out right now, and I'm wondering what I'm going to go back to.
You haven't seemed to have too many problems over here in the last year or two, have you?
No, not the last couple of years. It was a few years back that we had some issues with the tree stand walking off, but so far nobody's touched the cameras.
Gotcha. Well
now where you are, I have a question for you all. Yeah. Where you are at, where your areas you all hunt in, do y'all have cell service?
Yes, it's sporadic.
So you can install those ones that has the cell service to be able to send you pictures and everything then.
I think I could probably get away with it in most places where I hunt. There are some places where cell phone service is real sketchy. We were talking earlier, I can set in my box blind up on the hill, and I can, get part of a game. I can actually sit there and watch a little bit of football if I wanted to, Normally what I'm doing is just going through, the sports ticker, just checking scores is what I'm doing.
Right, exactly.
But I can get a cell signal.
Now with my property, and before I even say anything, Denny Steiner just joined us.
Hey, Denny, hope you're feeling better, man.
Denny, hope you're feeling better and get well soon, man. My property, depending on where you're standing, you can either get cell service or no cell service. So if you're on the high side, kind of, you're going to get it. And then as you walk down towards the swamp, which is kind of close to the cabin, you kind of lose it.
Right.
And I barely get it at the cabin. If any, you hold the phone up and hope you get something.
Right.
But I don't think I could install. I don't know if the signal's strong enough there. Maybe on the high side in the hardwoods, I probably could.
I know Danny and I occasionally will be able to text each other a little bit during deer season. When we're both up north, if we're both in the right blinds at the right time to where we can get a signal.
Well, that's it. If I'm in the one blind, I can't get out barely.
Right. So,
and then it depends on the weather too.
Oh, really?
It seems if it's a high sky day, I might have a little less. It might be harder to get a signal.
Okay.
Than if it
The one thing I like about having a phone with me and having service like that, Tim, is you can get yourself into some trouble real quick if you got some fronts moving through and you're trying to hunt the fronts, and all of a sudden it gets a lot worse than what you expect. I can watch storms rolling in, and I'll do that a lot. I'll check the weather, especially if it's sketchy, and if I need to get into a blind, get out of my tree stand, get down and get into a blind or something like that. That's one reason I like to have the phone with me as well, just for safety reasons.
Now, I will say this: if I am hunting in a place that does have service, I use the Onyx app.
Okay.
The hunting app, and that if somebody's looking for a good hunt, Onyx is excellent in my opinion. I'm just not saying it because we're partners and stuff, but that's very good. I mean, it breaks everything down on property, and
it is a very good app to use. I've noticed. I've tried to use it at my place, and I just don't get. I don't think my
phone's strong enough.
Yeah, the signal's strong enough. I've had it update slowly, if at best.
Okay. And something else I heard they were doing, I haven't seen it yet this year, is they're doing an overlay for CWD zones, and that for us here in Michigan, that's pretty important.
Absolutely.
To know where you're at with that as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be excellent.
But I think most people that hunt Michigan that live here, they know where those things are. Although Danny and I, we talked about this on last week's show, that there's still people we were running into in stores that didn't really understand the ramifications of CWD. That worked in the stores and customers both that lived here in Michigan. And I found that a little odd, but it is what it is, I guess. But
lack of education.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you see that down there by you with your rules and regulations when you're talking with people, when you're out doing a show or something like that.
The CWD here in West Virginia, we have it in the Eastern Panhandle. And I have noticed that each year there's a different county that's getting colored in that says CWD in it, and it's like it's slowly moving south through the state, and that does concern me about how can they get this stopped, especially after watching your all show and watching and being educated with it. How long is it going to take till it gets down this area? What's going to be the repercussions of it? If we don't get it stopped.
What's the mindset down there generally with just the hunters in your area? I mean, are people talking about it? Are they concerned about it, or are they just like, it's something there? We know it's there. Oh well.
Well, where we're at down here, all the way in the southern part of the state, southwestern part of the state, we don't ever. I've never heard anybody talking about it.
Okay.
Only when you pull up, pick up the new regulations. And you see the little shaded counties that has it's the CWD hot zone. CWD hot zone.
Okay.
So my question is,
it started out just one county, and now it's in about 4 or 5 now.
Do they even test for it down there?
Well, they must test for it in some way or another to know that it's there, unless they're pulling it out of high fence facilities. Maybe that's the case. I don't know.
It's up in next to Maryland. It's in the corner of Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia in the Eastern Panhandle. If you're looking at it, it looks like the state, how it looks like a squashed frog. Well, I tell you what, here, if you can see, it's in this part of the state through here.
Hold that up just a little bit higher, Tim. Just a little, there you go. Yep, I see what you're talking about now.
Okay.
It's in this part right through here. And the thing about it is, if you can see this bit right there, that county.
Yep.
It's Hardy County.
Uh-huh.
And you know how I told you a little bit ago how my dad would take me out of school in the fall?
Yep.
That county's where we used to go.
Okay.
And that county has CWD.
And that's up on that Pennsylvania border?
Well, that's next to the Virginia border.
Virginia border, okay. Yep. Yeah, and we've talked to people. Well, Kip Adams from QDMA, he talks about, the CWD being there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
so,
Pennsylvania. And
that's, probably moved that way, so.
Right, exactly, and yeah.
It's interesting, though, how from one state to the other, how the game officials deal with it and how it's perceived and how the public perceives it.
Right.
So.
Right, exactly.
It's interesting. But you don't know.
I'll tell you what, here, Danny, Mike, you see that there? That's in our regulations.
West Virginia chronic wasting disease containment.
Okay.
Okay.
That's how they define it, containment area.
Okay.
Yeah.
We call it a hot
That's
zone.
the part. That's the part that is where everything is. That's in the Eastern Panhandle.
Okay.
All right.
So,
interesting.
So they're watching it. They're trying to contain it. They're
Well, what are they doing besides putting that in the pamphlets? I mean, is there any discussions from the state game officials, or is there any special rules that apply in that area, or is there any like
you can only bring meat out. No, you cannot bring no carcass, no bones, nothing.
Yeah, it's got to be deboned. No brain. No.
Yeah.
Well, here I tell you what. Here I can read it here. Meat that has been boned out. This is for transportation. Quarters or other portions of meat with no part of the spinal column or head attached. Clean hide with no head attached. Clean skull plate with no meat or tissue attached with the antlers attached. Antlers with no meat or tissue attached, and finished taxidermy mounts is the only way that you could transfer meat or anything like that out of that area.
That's pretty much the
same as here.
Yeah, status quo across.
Same as here, and same as
other states.
Several other states are bringing meat into this state.
Right.
Absolutely. That's
Well, are they up in their quotas in that area? Oh, go ahead.
Are they what?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Of course, about the West Virginia has started a restoration program for elk.
Right.
So, and it's down in this area where I live at now. But you were not allowed to keep any of the shed antlers.
Why is that?
Because these came from Kentucky and from Arizona. They're not natural-born West Virginia elk. And so they don't want to spread in case something got through from the testing that they done.
Mm-hmm.
So they done all they had them in quarantine when they were here. They were actually having fawns in the pens.
Okay.
Until the Department of Agriculture are the ones that govern and maintain everything.
Mm-hmm.
They still hadn't got permission from the Department of Agriculture to release these elk yet. And these cow elk were starting to have fawns or calves. So, but they had them in. They was making sure that they got all the test results back after the 90-day quarantine, and they were sending everything out, making sure the CWD was not in them. But they still will not let us keep the elk sheds. We either leave them lay or we turn them into the DNR.
That's interesting.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Odd, but interesting.
Yeah, because CWD is not in the antler.
Oh, really?
Well, you can get taxidermy work and take it out. It's bone. It's hardened bone is what it is. Skull plate. Saying it's basically in that nervous system.
It's
through the
spinal column up to the brain.
Up to the brain. Yeah.
It's
lymph nodes and things of that nature. That's where they test for it. And I'd be interested to know how they're testing to find out that they don't have CWD without killing them. What method are they using to see if these elk are testing? There's got to be something they're looking for. It'd be interesting. Maybe
I don't know how they do. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, fellas. If it wasn't for you all, I wouldn't know as much as I do from watching your all show.
Well, that's what happens when you get a state like up here and get thrown into the hotbed of it.
Yeah,
there's enough stuff going on around.
It blows up, and it's like, wait a minute, we got to figure out what's going on.
Right,
here,
and you start learning that, and you start reading it, and you start reading from different people and the different opinions, and you know what? But that's good to hear though, because that's kind of what we've kind of been is trying to get the word out about it and formulate your own opinion as to what's going on and how you want to attack and how you want to handle this.
Up until probably this last year or two, I knew about it and I'd done some reading on it and educated myself somewhat on it. There's no expert by any stretch of the imagination, nor am I now. But I tried to read up on it, but in the last year or so, I bet you, especially here in the last 2 or 3 months, I've watched probably 20 or 25 different videos or podcasts or listened to them, in the last couple of months, plus reading articles. It's right now, it just seems like everybody's talking about it, which is good. I think it's a good thing, no matter what side of the fence you're on.
Right.
Is to get yourself educated about it.
Got to have good discussion. That's important. Yeah. Good, sensible discussion.
Right. Now, up in those areas there where they've got CWD there in West Virginia, are they increasing any of the quotas on deer kill up there? Or is it just pretty much status quo for that as well?
I believe it's just pretty much status quo, like you said. I don't think they're doing anything different. No,
they're not trying to reduce the herd at all.
Do you have in West Virginia? Do you have mandatory deer check?
Not no more.
Not anymore. That's interesting.
Oh,
Not up until about 3 years ago. We had to take it to a game check place.
Mm-hmm.
Now we do it online.
Oh, so you still have it, but you just do it online. You register it.
Right. We don't take it to we have like myself. I have a DNR number that's mine, and I get on the DNR website, punch in my DNR account number, and then I fill in that I killed a buck with a rifle on this date at this time at this county, and then it kind of makes a file for me, and I can go back through the years now for the last 3 years, and I can see everything that I checked in.
Oh, okay. And then,
Like
but do you have to do that within a certain amount of time after you shoot the deer?
24 hours.
Okay.
So it is a mandatory check.
Mandatory check. Okay.
Well, I was thinking mandatory game checking station. That's what I was.
right.
Yeah. Well, you just proved a point. You can use the online, or you can use a phone call, right?
Yes. Yeah, you can call them in.
There you go.
So they're keeping track of harvest numbers. They know where the deer are coming from. The thing that's nice, I think, about the mandatory or a check station, I should say, not mandatory, but the check station part, at least here in Michigan, when you take them in, they'll take and look at the jawbone, and they'll age the deer for you, and get an age on it as well. And then if you want, you can submit the head for testing, depending on if you're coming from if you're in a CWD zone,
you have to.
You have to. But like where we hunt in the TB zone, we're worried about TB. We take and submit the heads as well.
Right.
Unless it's a buck. If it's a buck, then, we...
If it's a buck and you want it mounted...
Then you take it to your taxidermist and have that done.
Yeah, they'll pull out the skull for you.
Yep.
And
but there's other ways to tell as well. I
Right.
mean, they'll look at the chest cavity to see if there's nodules inside. And you can tell when you open it up if it's got full-blown TB or not. So.
Right.
But that's something you guys are not dealing with down there, I take. There's no TB?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting, regionally how, one herd will have this or another herd will have a little of that. What about EHD? You guys deal with that, EHD or blue tongue?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very bad. It hit us about 3 years ago. It hit us very bad. Some nice bucks was lost just in a county just north of Lincoln here in Boone County. In certain areas, people had videos. Some very nice, and some bucks wasn't even out of velvet and was dying.
Yeah, no, because right now, it's if you have it, it should be right about now.
Yeah, end of August, 1st September.
Yeah, it's right about now. So
I'll tell you what.
Oh, they had some pitiful videos of the deers that.
Oh yeah, they're sad.
That's torture. Yeah.
We're bumping up on our last break here, so let's take our last break, come back, and we'll wrap up the show after that. So we're going to step outside, and we'll be right back here in just a few minutes.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back. Last segment
of the show, and we're talking with Mr. West Virginia himself.
That's right. Lim Walker Game Calls. Tim and I, we have a common bond. Did you know that, Danny?
Should I be worried about why you guys have a common bond?
You know I'm an Alabama fan, right?
Yes, you are.
Who's the coach of Alabama? Nick Saban. And where's he from? Where's he from, Tim?
West Virginia.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
The best Virginia.
The best Virginia. I like that.
I'm sorry. Arnold Killian says it's illegal to harvest any part of an elk in West Virginia, including the antlers. I think his opinion is that he thinks the DNR is just concerned about shed hunters selling the horns for profit.
Could be. Okay. So they're restoring it currently. They're not hunting. You're not hunting elk over there. They're not having a hunt yet, are they?
No. It's only been in effect for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll take you a few years, and hopefully you get to where Michigan got to the point where they said, let's have an elk season.
What was it, 78, 79, the first elk drop?
The last season in Michigan
was that moose? That was moose.
The last season in Michigan was like the early 60s, 63, 64.
Okay, it was the moose drop that we brought.
Then we had a moose drop in the upper.
That was 78, 79. They had another one like 83, 84, somewhere 85.
There, yeah. And then the elk, there was no hunting elk, and then eventually they got those numbers up to where we have an elk season.
Yeah.
And they're trying to work on the moose, but moose is just not happening.
It's not the population is not increasing like the elk did when they really started trying to protect them and bring them back. So
okay, Don Gibson is all over this saying go Mountaineers.
Okay. Football season starts next week. Can you tell? Matter of fact, that's a little off subject, but Tim, I did see that you were at a high school football game here this weekend, were you not?
Yeah, I was on a date with my wife. Me and her went to the opening game of the Chattanooga-Sissonville High School this past Friday.
And
Chattanooga Regional High.
Is that where you or her went?
No.
Okay.
But our daughter will be going there.
Okay.
No, I went to Man High School in Man, West Virginia. They lost Thursday night.
Uh-oh.
She went to Harts High, and they do not have a high school anymore because they were combined in with Chatlansville, during consolidation.
Okay.
And they never did have a football. They always had a basketball team, no football.
Oh, okay. Not even an 8-man football team?
Nothing.
Okay, because here in Michigan, depending on where you are in your rank, we've got classes 1 through 8. But then if your school drops below a certain number, you're able to play 8-man football. Shorter,
really?
Yeah. It's a same length of field, just not as wide.
Yeah, it's a little different,
and it's actually really fun to watch because you got 2-way players usually, and it's a really big. It's kind of cool that they still have something that they can get into.
Right.
Wow. Okay. They consolidated Harts High and Chattanooga High, and it's actually 2 different counties. It's Logan County and Lincoln County, and they named it Chattanooga Regional High School, and that's where my daughter will be going.
Okay.
But no, me and her we don't have no ties whatsoever with it. But it was the first game of the season, and me and her, we had plans on all 3 of us going, and my little girl, she backed out right at the end to stay with Grandma. And so, but me and her went, had a good time, got some popcorn, watched the game, and then came home. So, like Mike said, it's football time. It's football season. It's time to.
Nothing better than high school and college football, I say.
Absolutely.
No, there's not.
It's good stuff.
No, there's not.
That's good stuff.
I mean, it's something that they're playing for something.
Right,
Absolutely.
But then on Saturday you went and saw another friend of yours play in football.
Yeah. Actually, it was 2 of them. There was Lucas Browning. Lucas he's part of my call team. He just joined up this year, and Lucas Browning, he's a great kid. He's number 60. I posted his picture on there. And then Josh Pearson, his son Joshua, he plays for the middle school too. He was 61, so I kind of had two different players I was pulling for to watching them play. They had a middle school grid-a-rama in Chapmansville. So, and I tell you what, that was just as enjoyable as the high school team was.
Very nice.
Getting their feet wet into the ranks of football.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
and some of them knew what it. Some of them finally learned know what a hard hit was.
Right?
Yeah. You learn real quick. Well, I tell you what, we got a few minutes here left. We'll turn tables here a little bit. If you got any questions for us, I mean, we've talked a lot on the phone back and forth, but you got an opportunity here. Is there anything you got questions for us that you want answered?
Do you all have a moose season?
Not yet.
So our moose population that we do have in Michigan, which is limited to the Upper Peninsula, What they did back in 70s and 80s is they went over to Ontario, Canada, and got some moose from there, helicoptered them over into the Upper Peninsula, dropped them off, and that was the hopes, was that they would establish a moose population there, which they did, which I don't know the number of right now.
It just didn't really take off too
But
well.
it hasn't taken off to the point where they can call it. There's been rumors in the last few years of thinking of doing a limited hunt, but right now the numbers aren't supporting a hunt.
That is on my bucket list.
To go moose hunting?
I want to do a Yukon moose hunt.
So, what I know now, and knowing the relatives that I have up in Quebec, back in the day when I was young, and their moose hunting camp was across the lake.
Across Lake Superior?
No, across their lake that they lived on up in Quebec.
Okay.
So they would just jump in the boat, zip across the water, go to the top of the hill where the cabin was, and that's where their moose hunting was.
Okay.
So, their moose are not the Yukon moose where you see the paddles.
Right.
They're not like that. They're more of a tined moose.
Okay.
So
they don't have the big, wide, sweeping antlers on
right.
The paddle antlers.
The ones that they've gotten I've seen was just the tines.
Okay. Interesting.
But Yukon that's an interesting one. What else is on that bucket list, your buddy?
Kill my slam for the turkeys.
Okay.
Me and myself and a few other guys are planning on making a trip to Texas next year in the spring. We're looking up for outfitters right now. We're going after the Rios.
Okay.
I've always wanted to hunt in Texas.
Yeah, I've heard you say that on your show a couple times. That's kind of like one of your destinations is to hunt Texas.
Yeah, it's just watching them on the Outdoor Channel, the Sportsman's Channel, and seeing these videos and all these turkeys is down in Texas. I'm thinking, man, I would be in heaven, And that plus, I've always wanted to go to Texas. I know it sounds crazy, but I got one friend of mine that actually me and him are the one that's instrumental in doing this. He doesn't want to fly, so we're looking, and he's never flown, and I've never flown. I've never had my feet. I've never been in an airplane. So we're probably going to be driving. I'm probably going to be seeing more parts of the country that I've ever thought about seeing. If it's the Lord's will, we get to go. So, because Sonny Priest, if he's still watching, we're going to be driving. It's going to be a 24-hour trip down and a 24-hour trip back, and it's like a 3-day hunt. So it'll be a long week, but I'm going to enjoy it.
So 2 days to get there.
That's
it's just one. Actually, you can be down there in 24 hours. To the one outfitter that we're looking at, that we've been talking to, it's actually 21 hours. That's straight driving.
Wow, that's a lot of driving.
Yeah,
I've done that one time like that when we went out to Colorado. 36 hours of driving, about killed me.
Right?
I slept for a day. I think once we got there. So, yeah, that's a long haul, brother.
Was you out there to go hunting?
Yeah, Kevin Hutchings and I went out there in 2008 to mule deer hunt. Drove out we were right up on the Wyoming border in northern central Colorado. Beautiful country, beautiful.
Wow. Now there's a couple spots like in is it Kansas out there that you can get both types of turkeys?
New Mexico has them.
Okay.
Yeah, a buddy of mine hunts. I believe it's on the South Dakota, Wyoming, or South Dakota, Montana border. Sundance, Wyoming. That's like a border town, I believe. And he'll hunt in both states. And he says, depending on how far in you go, you can go further west and get Rios out that way. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So next year, Tim's going to get the Grand Slam.
No, I still got to do my Osceola. I haven't got my Florida yet.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to do it and I let it go. I actually had family living down there and they invited me down and I never went. And that's a shame on me. But we get out and get to the Rio and possibly the Miriam, and then maybe in a couple of years head down to Florida and go out and grab my Osceola.
There you go. Sounds like a plan.
Definitely. Well, I tell you what, we'll wrap up the show here, the podcast portion of the show. For those of you listening to the podcast, we'll continue the live stream here for a few minutes and kind of wrap things up. But I tell you what, for everybody that's on the podcast tonight, we appreciate you listening in.
Yeah, and if you've been listening, we've been talking to Tim. Tim, one more time, tell us where we can find your calls.
Get the calls out.
Facebook at Lim Walker Game Calls, Instagram Lim Walker Game Calls, and YouTube Lim Walker game calls. I do not have a website, but you can either look me up at Tim Sias on Facebook or obviously Lim Walker game calls.
And if you don't remember that, get a hold of us here at Up North Journal, and we'll point you in the right direction.
We'll get you right to them.
So, all right, that'll do it for us on the podcast for this week, folks. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Scents,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Lim Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stands.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.